ECOWAS has once again boldly summoned Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger to its upcoming summit, a clear signal that it refuses to acknowledge the new alliance formed by these nations. Simultaneously, an African Union delegation has descended on Burkina Faso for direct talks with Captain Ibrahim Traore. These abrupt maneuvers raise a pressing question: what's driving this sudden urgency? Let's find out. June 17th, Traore received Antonio Tete, the special envoy of the AU chairperson, at the Kuluba Palace in Ouagadougou. This visit, cloaked in diplomatic pleasantries, marks a stunning reversal from the AU's long-standing condemnation of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger for their courageous exit from ECOWAS and their formation of the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. Meanwhile, Nigeria's unexpected invitation to the AES nations to attend the West Africa Economic Summit at the Abuja International Conference Center reveals a desperate attempt to claw back influence over a region that has decisively rejected Western manipulation. These events are not mere diplomatic overtures. They expose the crumbling facade of Western-controlled regional bodies and the unstoppable rise of a new African order led by uncompromising leaders like Traore. The AES, in less than 2 years, has achieved what the AU and ECOWAS have failed to do in decades: fostering genuine African solidarity, economic independence, and a vision for a united continent free from imperialist shackles. Before I dive deeper into this, let me go back to the arrival of Antonio Tete in Ouagadougou on June 17th, which was framed as an exercise in the AU's so-called principle of non-indifference, a doctrine that supposedly compels the organization to engage with crises across the continent. Tete claimed his mission was to listen to the authorities of Burkina Faso and assess the challenges facing the Sahel, particularly its dire security situation. He spoke of solidifying bridges and fostering African solidarity and common destiny after discussions with Traore about Burkina Faso's national situation. Yet, this visit reeks of hypocrisy. For years, the AU has vilified Traore and his counterparts in Mali and Niger, imposing sanctions and issuing condemnations for their military-led governments, which seized power to address the failures of corrupt civilian regimes. The AU's sudden interest in dialogue comes not from a genuine desire for African unity, but from a fear of irrelevance as the AES forges a path that exposes the organization's impotence. The AU, established in 2002 as a successor to the Organization of African Unity, OAU, was meant to be a beacon of continental unity, economic progress, and self-determination. Yet, it has become a hollow shell, a stage for African leaders to deliver eloquent speeches that mask their subservience to Western interests. For decades, the AU has failed to deliver on its promises of integration, security, and development. It has not established a viable African standby force to address conflicts like the Sahel's jihadist insurgencies. It has not advanced the African Continental Free Trade Area, AFCFTA, beyond bureaucratic rhetoric. It has not challenged the exploitation of African minerals by Western corporations. Instead, it has served as a platform for corrupt leaders to showcase their oratorical fluency while their citizens languish in poverty. The AU's budget, heavily reliant on foreign donors like the European Union and the United States, underscores its lack of autonomy. Over 70% of its funding comes from external sources, rendering it a puppet of Western powers who dictate its priorities. The visit to Ouagadougou is not about solidarity. It is a desperate attempt to rein in a movement that threatens the AU's cozy relationship with its Western masters. Nigeria's invitation to Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger to attend the 2025 West Africa Economic Summit is equally telling. Ambassador Yusuf Tuga, Nigeria's Minister of Foreign Affairs, justified the move by stating that exiting ECOWAS does not erase the three nations' West African identity. This gesture, however, is not an olive branch, but a thinly veiled attempt to undermine the AES's growing influence. ECOWAS, like the AU, has long been a tool of Western manipulation, imposing crippling sanctions on the AES nations after their coups in 2020, Mali, 2022, Burkina Faso, and 2023, Niger. These sanctions, which included border closures, no-fly zones, and asset freezes, were designed to strangle the economies of these landlocked nations and force them back into the fold of neo-colonial control. Yet, the AES nations stood firm, rejecting ECOWAS's threats and forming their own confederation to pursue true sovereignty. The sanctions backfired spectacularly. In Niger, food and medicine shortages fueled anti-ECOWAS sentiment, with citizens rallying behind their junta leaders. In Burkina Faso, Traore's defiance resonated across the continent, earning him hero status among African youth.